changing gears slightly. Have you seen the this? I think was it the end of last week? It might have been the beginning of this. I can't even remember what day it was now. But Instagram have now brought out their own rip-off version of TikTok called Reels.
Yes. I
Now,
was hounded by it when I switched on whatever particular day it was, and it kept coming up, and I thought,
yeah,
God, I don't want to use it. But even after it, I couldn't find out where to do it anyway. Well,
right.
maybe it's just me being thick, but I could see on there, like you got IGTV and these bits. I couldn't find it. Is it a menu option or?
I think it
I
is in
don't know.
your when you go into your stories of Instagram, you can. That's the layout
Ah,
that's changed now. Well, certainly on Android phones it has. But I mean, I got sent TikTok videos to watch by friends. I think you might have even been in a TikTok video that you done with your family. But
I did.
yeah, shame on you. However, when I say shame on you, it's another trend. It's
Yeah.
certainly taken off. I'm not as keen on getting into it. I feel like it's just going to be a phase and then it'll probably die away somewhere quietly. But Instagram or Facebook, who obviously own Instagram, they're getting on board with it and trying to do the same thing. What are your thoughts?
I think it's very hard with these companies. You've seen it quite a lot with different things. Um, But I get why Instagram wants to do it, and to be honest, Facebook owned Instagram. Facebook bought Instagram because it was stealing some of their territory. It bought WhatsApp because it was stealing some of its territory. It tried to buy Snapchat, but couldn't, and they refused. And then it added Stories, which was like the competitor to Snapchat. So no, like have been doing it for years. But I think like TikTok has just had a huge growth, hasn't it? And there's like billions and billions of people or whatever that use it. And it's just I don't know. I don't know how whether someone would see it as I'm not a I'm not a TikTok user. My son uses it, but even seeing like the only things that I see on it and I think that's pretty cool are the dance things. And it's cool from like a I think it's quite engaging, especially with children. In that there'll be a popular song and there's this dance, and they can learn the dance and things like that. I think that's quite good. But when you see so many other stuff, it's like when YouTube still suffers from it now. When people are sort of growing their presence on YouTube, and they were just doing the cheapest like thing, just like clickbait stuff.
Yeah,
And that's what it feels like on TikTok. It's just like this constant bombardment of, oh, I'm doing something stupid, or I don't know, look at me, I've filled my house with baked beans, or it's like this stupid thing.
yeah.
But maybe I'm old.
How?
Yeah, now I've got a million views, but now what am I going to do?
Yeah,
So yeah, that's to me. It's a bit trashy. It's like I know it feels like reality TV
yeah.
as such, but
You saying that makes me think of Wreck-It Ralph 2, where he breaks the internet. Um, and they've got like the whole YouTube thing on there,
yeah,
and they get him to do a video just so it gets the most views. It's him getting angry or getting just makes me
yeah,
think of that.
exactly.
But yeah, clickbait. You're exactly right.
Mm.
Are we trying to grow our YouTube following? Maybe we need to jump on board with this.
With quality content, yeah.
Quality, exactly. Um,
So if we do a TikTok video and like it can be just us talking, and then you, I know, explode into fire or something like that,
yeah, that can be
or
arranged
your teeth fall out because of the
because of the
tablets
chat.
you've been chewing.
Spot on. I love it.
Go millions
Sold.
of views.
Uh,
But yeah, it just feels like I don't know. Just because something's been successful in one way doesn't mean it's going to be someone else does it. It's going to be just as successful. I think TikTok has just latched onto this. I don't know, just become this thing that has. I don't know. People are clearly inspired by it, but
Well, even from a music sense, you mentioned it just a minute ago. Like, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure hasn't Jason Derulo like done his own lyrics to
yeah,
to one of the songs, which is so annoying and is like in my head constantly.
Yeah.
You hear it once, and then that
And
tune.
there's a whole dance to that, and
Yeah,
that's everything. And the TikTok now does, to a
who's
certain
going to do it
extent,
then?
influence music. I don't know the moves. It was to a certain extent making hits. There have been so many
Mm.
songs out that have started on TikTok that people have just picked up on.
I think because of the timing of it, with it almost coming out during lockdown, or at least
Uh, well, no,
just
it,
before then.
it used to be Musically, is what it used to be called.
Right.
It
Okay.
was an app called Musically, which was people could lip sync to stuff, basically. So it'd
Right.
have a catalogue of songs, and you'd pretend you were singing the songs, and you could then share that.
Yeah.
But the company, I think it's a Chinese company, is it ByteDance or something? Whatever the company is that bought it, rebranded it as TikTok, and now it's gone nuts.
Taken off.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
I
don't
think.
know. I think with from the Instagram perspective, I can't imagine it's gonna stick around. But stories is pretty cool,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And
I
did
think
did they do
stories.
stories before Facebook? Because Facebook, I mean, they've both got them, and
Yeah,
I guess they're owned by the
yeah.
same
I
company.
said
So
Instagram put stories on there to compete with Snapchat
yeah.
because Snapchat wouldn't sell to Facebook, so they just
Right.
did their own. But I like how stories I like because it was. I thought where that sits is if you've use Instagram and you've got your profile when you put things on there, there are some things that you might want to post that don't fit with what you're putting on there.
Hmm.
Like my one is predominantly my art, and
Yeah.
I if I have something nice for dinner, like for example, do I then want to put that on there, and then that's gonna sort of disrupt what's going on? But with stories, I could put, oh look at this, whatever, and put it on stories, and it's in addition to the main profile. So I
Yeah.
think that works quite well. So I guess this new thing could do the same, couldn't it?
And I think also it kind of it probably isn't targeting not stories, but going back to TikTok and Reels, it doesn't necessarily target probably our age group. I think a younger
No,
audience
exactly.
are absolutely in love with it because of the
Yeah,
creative side, and to some extent, as much as I'm not a fan of it as such, I think it does add a creative element to younger people and their kind
yeah,
of how they learn it. Like it is
exactly.
clever. Some of these videos are clever still.
Yeah,
So
and that's what I love about these. That you have to think about these pieces of software, which all they are, like the Instagram and so on,
mm,
and they become what they become because of how people use it.
mm,
It's if you think Instagram was made for sharing photography and adding filters to it and things like that
yeah,
10 years ago, and it's evolved into like a media platform. But
mm,
and now we post podcast videos on it, and people do all different crazy stuff on there now, and
yeah,
it's their creativity, like you said. It's that they take this thing and think, rather than thinking, well, I can only do this, the younger generation and people who just look at it and think, oh, that's cool, I can. They look at it completely open-minded, like, yeah, I'm gonna set up a podcast, or I'm gonna do dance videos, or I'm gonna do tutorials on whatever, and it takes its own form, doesn't it? Which is
yeah,
really
definitely.
cool. Yeah, definitely.